You've probably missed some of these recent announcements from Microsoft when it came to their Copilot product. Because between Google and OpenAI and DeepSeek and Anthropic Claude, right, there's been so many attention grabbing AI and large language model releases. And for a couple of reasons, I think Microsoft's updates have kind of flown under the radar because it's usually about the premium product. It's about who's putting out the absolute best state of the model releases, their state of the art model releases, right? And that's not necessarily Copilot because for the most part, they're using OpenAI's models to power their Copilot product. But I actually think Microsoft's been killing it lately, at least with what they're offering for free users. All right, so today we're going to be taking a deeper look and exploring some of those new Copilot features, what they mean for you and your business, and hopefully we'll be able to separate some of the confusion because I know there's always a lot of confusion about like, hey, what do I have access to in Microsoft 365 Copilot and what don't I have access to? All right, so we're going to be going over those things and a whole lot more today on Everyday AI. What's going on, y'all? My name is Jordan Wilson, and this show's for you. This is your daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter, helping us all not just learn AI, but how we can actually leverage it to grow our companies and to grow our careers. Is that you? Is that what you're trying to do? If so, this is step one. Listening to this podcast or live stream, that's how you learn. But how you leverage this all and how you put it into action, well, you start on our website. You go to youreverydayai.com. There you can sign up for our free daily newsletter. And in today's newsletter, I'm going to be recapping today's podcast / live stream, some additional insights that maybe we didn't have time for, as well as keeping you up to date with all of the AI news and what's happening in the world of AI. So if you're looking for the AI news today, just go ahead and check that out. Yeah, normally we do that on the podcast beforehand, but I didn't want to waste too much time. Sometimes my live demos go long. I'm sorry. So all the AI news that you need is going to be in the newsletter. All right. Hey, live stream audience, thank you for tuning in. If you have questions, get them in. I'll try to answer what I can when it comes to Microsoft's new and free updates to its Microsoft Copilot, feature set. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Hey, Woozy Rogers, thanks for jumping on the show. Love to see it. Sterling, finally, a live show joining from Utah. Love to see it. Rolando, Sandra, Joe, Marie, Jackie, everyone else, Brian, Kyle, Michelle. We got a lot of people. Can't shout everyone out, but thanks for tuning in. All right, so let's start at the top. Microsoft Copilot can be confusing, right? For a couple of reasons. So this is one of those things when I go to big tech conferences, right? So I'm lucky enough, a lot of big companies invite me out to go to their conference, maybe interview some of their executives. I'm going out to NVIDIA's GTC conference here in less than a week. So make sure you tune into that. I was at Microsoft's big Ignites conference in Chicago a few months ago. And one thing I was talking about, kind of like off the record, right? I like to go around as a spy. Luckily, people don't always recognize me. Sometimes they did, but that's okay. But I just said like, hey, what's good and bad? What are people asking about? And it's kind of like a pro and a con with Microsoft Copilot. I kind of heard the same type of response for things that people liked and that they were confused about was essentially is Copilot's everywhere, right? There's too many places that you can use Microsoft Copilot and people weren't always sure. Right? They're like, oh, should I be using it in, biz chat? Should I be using it in Pages? Should I be using it inside the Microsoft 365 apps, right? Should I be using it in Teams? So there's more than one way to use Microsoft Copilot. That's not necessarily what today's show is about, but what I do want to talk about is access, right? And it's greatly and quickly changed when it comes to Microsoft Copilot. Mainly, the free users are getting some love, right? And I'll tell you why you actually might be a free user and you might not even know about it. All right, so let's first talk about what's new. So what has Microsoft Copilot announced for free users that they didn't have before. And let me just first say this. You might be a Microsoft 365 user, and then you see Copilot, and then you assume that you are a Microsoft 365 Copilot user. That is generally not the case. And the overwhelming number of people I talk to are a little confused, and I get it, right? Because you have your general Microsoft 365 license, right? That gives you access to all of Microsoft's products, your Word, your Outlook, Excel, etc., right? And I don't know the exact price. I think it's like $8 to $10 a month, something like that per user, right? And then, so a lot of times you have Microsoft 365 and then you see the little Copilot and you just assume, oh, I have Microsoft 365 Copilot. Guess what? You probably don't. All right, because that is an additional subscription fee, and that is per user. And I think especially early on, 2023, 2024, companies didn't want to just give Microsoft 365 Copilot access to everyone, right? Because they're like, oh, great. Are we just going to give it to every single employee? That's $30 per month per user on top of the Microsoft 365 fees. So some companies with hundreds or thousands of employees, that's a multi-million-dollar investment. So, they're just like, we're just not going to do it. Or they just gave it to a small group, but didn't fully explain, hey, here's what you get on the paid version. And hey, if you have Microsoft 365, you kind of have some access to some free features of Copilot, but there wasn't a lot. But that's changed now, luckily. So let's talk about what's new in terms of some of these free features. So two of the bigger ones that I think are worth pointing out, and we may try to demo them, even though I'm pretty sure it's going to crash. So one would be free and unlimited Think Deeper. All right, so this is, I think, the one I'm probably going to spend the most time on. Because this is something, you always have to look at what features or what utility you have in certain AI tools that are free versus paid, right? And ChatGPT's free plan has gotten improved so much, right? I said 9 months ago, probably, I said, don't touch the free version of ChatGPT with a 10-foot pole. It's completely different now. Their free plan is actually amazing. So this is a feature that is actually better than ChatGPT's free plan. So if you aren't a Microsoft 365 Copilot subscriber, you still have free and unlimited access to Think Deeper. So you can go to you can go to copilot.microsoft.com, right? Yeah, there's also so many different ways that you can access Microsoft Copilot. And, it depends on if you have a personal account, a business account, so it might redirect you somewhere else. All right, that's why I said it can be even access in can be a little tricky. But Think Deeper, that is OpenAI's O1 model. So this was kind of their first big thinking model. So your traditional Copilot has always been run on the GPT models from OpenAI. Although if you pay attention to our show, we talked about it yesterday, right? Microsoft is, according to reports, looking at diversifying the models that will be driving Copilot in the future, as well as potentially using its own MAI model, which is a reasoning model. Okay, but traditionally, up until now, Microsoft Copilot has primarily been driven by the GPT models from OpenAI. So those are the quote unquote, I know it sounds weird calling them old school, but it's the old school transformer models, right? But we have this new school, this new breed of AI models called reasoners. All right. And O1 was OpenAI's first reasoning model that they made available. So now inside of Microsoft Copilot, for free, you have unlimited access to O1 by using the Think Deeper icon. All right. So this isn't something that, you're have a model drop down if you're used to ChatGPT and you're like, all right, let me find this O1. It's actually just a little icon and it says Think Deeper. And you click that. And then essentially it's going to use this O1 model that does kind of this, this chain of thought. and it kind of breaks down a prompt, whether that's a simple prompt or a complex prompt. It breaks it down more like a human would, and it reasons through it. Obviously, using this O1 inside Microsoft Copilot is going to be best for prompts that require, more reasoning or more compute, right? If you just say, like, hey, what's up? Or, what's one plus one? Or, tell me a story about blank, right? You're not going to get much better results by using that O1 and think deeper kind of icon, but you will on queries that just require more brains, more logic, more reasoning. All right. So that is heading the lineup. Number two is free and unlimited Copilot voice mode. Uh, I'm probably not going to demo this because, especially lately, I don't understand. The Copilot voice mode is both very good, but also very frustrating. It times out all the time, right? So I don't even know. I might try to demo it, but that's why I'm pretty sure this is going to break. It's so inconsistent. And then sometimes when the voice mode gets tripped up, it just kicks itself out of voice mode. So maybe I'll do a demo, maybe not. Let me know if you guys want to see and hear it. Hopefully you'll be able to hear it. But it's actually the voice mode itself, when it works, is really good, right? It's really good. But it is so inconsistent. And in my testing, so buggy as well. And just so everyone else out there knows, right? So I'm on a Mac, right? But I subscribe to Copilot Pro, which is a $20 a month subscription. So I use, Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel on my Mac, and then I can use Microsoft Copilot in those programs as well, but also the dedicated kind of Microsoft Copilot chat, right? So similarly, how you would use any front-end AI chatbot, any large language model, even though I'm currently on a Mac, yeah, I have a Microsoft PC Plus. I got to get that thing going. Gosh, like I thought I was really going to have it set up by like December or January, but I really underestimate how much time goes into doing a daily live stream podcast newsletter, doing enterprise consulting for huge companies, right? I didn't think I would be this busy the last couple of months. Anyways, so the Copilot voice mode, whether you're using it in the app, it's a little finicky, right? Microsoft came out with a Copilot app for even Mac. It's a little finicky. Trying it via Edge, which is a browser I love, doesn't always work. Using Chrome doesn't always work. So Copilot voice, when you try to give it more complex questions, more complex queries, in my personal experience, which is a lot, it's not always working consistently. So results may vary, but when it works, it's great, right? It is having that neural kind of AI agent. And I do think the future of working in around these AI programs is going to be more conversational, because we can speak. Not only can we speak about 2 to 3 times faster than we can type, which is a huge benefit, right? Talk about ROI. Just talk to your computer or, on the app, right? Copilot has a great iOS app. Talk versus type. That's number one. But number two, I don't know if anyone else out there feels the same way. Sometimes it's easier for me to convey something with my words than it is typing, right? In all these large language models, these AI chatbots, that's ultimately what they're good at. They're good at natural language processing. And I don't know, sometimes I find when it goes from my brain to my mouth, it's probably a little better. It's, little more unfiltered, I'm sure. But when it goes from my brain to my fingers to the keyboard to the screen, I think something gets lost in translation, at least for me, right? Even though I'm a writer, right? And maybe that's one of the reasons why. Maybe because I've been a writer for so long, I try to type or communicate something in a certain way, when maybe it's just better when I'm trying to get better results from a large language model, like, GPT-4o, GPT-4.5, whatever, Microsoft Copilot, whatever it's running. Maybe it's better if I just talk to it. So the Copilot voice mode, it's great when it works. All right, next is GitHub Copilot. All right, so GitHub Copilot is actually the OG, right? It's the OG when it comes to AI coding assistance. So GitHub Copilot is, most people don't know. A lot of people know GitHub. the very famous kind of coding repository. But GitHub Copilot is owned by Microsoft, right? So they essentially have an AI coding tool. So, you've probably, if you follow the newsletter, oftentimes we're talking about certain topics, and we don't talk about them a lot on the live stream podcast, but maybe we'll start doing that a little more about all these, AI coding tools like, Windsurf, Cursor, Lovable, right? There's all these really good tools. We don't talk about them a whole lot because I assume, hey, this is a non-technical show, but maybe we'll start doing some of these things. But GitHub Copilot was one of the OGs in terms of AI coding assistance. So now they have a free version, whereas before they did not. So GitHub Copilot, you can actually get 2,000 free code completions per month. So unless you're a full-time software developer, or unless you're just trying to vibe code daily, 2,000 free code completions per month, it's a pretty good amount, right? That's a pretty good amount. If you're using GitHub Copilot, if you're just trying to get started, it's actually a very generous free plan. All right. And then our next what's new and what's free. All right. So we have number one, we have Think Deeper, the O1 mode, or using the O1 model. Then we have number two, Copilot voice mode. Number three, GitHub Copilot. And this is all in the last couple of weeks, couple of months. And then we have Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. All right. I got to take a sip of coffee because this is where things get both exciting and a little confusing. All right. So Microsoft 365 Copilot chat was just announced a little over a month ago. And this gives you unlimited use, but with limited features for Microsoft 365 users without that $30 a month Copilot license. So that sounds like a very small group of people, but it's actually a huge group of people, right? Because like I said, at the Microsoft Ignite conference, I talked to dozens of people, companies, right? And that's one of the biggest reasons why, especially enterprise companies, haven't rolled out Microsoft 365 Copilot to their hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of users, because they don't necessarily want to pay that, $30 per month per user on top of the additional Microsoft 365 subscription fees. Although those are, much less. Like I said, I think they're, $8, $9, $10, something like that a month per user. So now there's a lot of features available inside Microsoft 365 Copilot chat that were not previously available. All right. I think I have a chart here, so we'll go over that. So yeah, like I said, I think this is actually probably the majority of you listening out there. You can now take advantage of Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. And it is confusing because they keep changing the name of these things. Originally, it was just Bing, right? And then it was Bing Chat. And then it was just Microsoft 360, or no, then it was just Microsoft Copilot. And then it's, Microsoft 365 Copilot. And now we have Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. All right. So let me just go over a little bit more of the details and some of the features of these things. So like I said, I think probably, at least for me, two of the more exciting things are the free unlimited access to Think Deeper, the O1 model, and voice. Although I think a lot of you are probably going to be more, a lot, especially if you are a big Windows organization, you're probably going to want the 365 Copilot chat way more. All right. But let's look at kind of what I think is the highlight. So this is reading from Microsoft's announcement. They said, we launched Copilot 2 years ago, focused on helping people access knowledge, get answers, reflect, brainstorm, and create. As we continue to build your ultimate AI companion, today we're excited to start rolling out even more powerful capabilities to all Copilot users with free, unlimited access to voice and Think Deeper, which is powered by OpenAI's O1 model. Now you can have an extended conversation with Copilot using voice and take advantage of Think Deeper's advanced reasoning models to tackle more complex questions or tasks anytime. All right. So now we have to talk a little bit about the different tiers of Copilot, and this is where it does start to get a little confusing. And again, this depends on if you're a little bit, it depends on if you're a Mac or a PC Windows user, right? But there is, like I said, now the free Copilot. So everything that I'm talking about now, it's available to anyone, right? Whether you're a current, Microsoft subscriber or not, all right, whether you're Mac or PC, all you need is a free account. So this new free Copilot version is available to everyone, and you can use it in any browser, but you can use it, like I said, Windows or Mac. You can use it Microsoft Edge. You can use it by just going to Bing.com, starting your conversation there, downloading the Copilot app. There's a lot of different ways. Your next tier, which it seems like they're kind of squeezing out, that's kind of the tier that I'm on right now. So that is the Pro tier. So that's available to anyone, including Mac users. And that's a $20 a month subscription fee. And I do think originally this was more targeted or geared toward Mac users because it allows you to have Microsoft Copilot inside the Microsoft 365 suite of products, right? So it's almost like, well, there's not a huge advantage to paying $20 a month versus $30 a month to get the full Microsoft 365 Copilot, unless you are a Mac user. I do appreciate the email that Microsoft sent out when they made all of these new features available for free. They essentially said, hey, if you're a Pro subscriber, your Pro subscription isn't worth as much as it was before. So if you want to cancel, here's the link. So I actually appreciated that, right? As ChatGPT and Copilot and Claude and all these other tools, as the free plans get better and better. And I think that's because of what we see coming out of China, open source models, right? So as these free models and free AI access gets better, sometimes the baseline, that $20 a month plan starts to kind of stink, right? So I appreciate that Microsoft sent out that email saying like, hey, if you want to cancel, here's how you do it. All right. And then you have your highest tier. All right. So free Pro, which is $20 a month. And then Microsoft Copilot or Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is available to Microsoft 365 subscribers, who then you have to pay an additional $30 per month per user subscription fee. So technically 2 different subscriptions. And I think that's where literally the majority of people are confused. The other thing is sometimes companies are paying and then they just don't give people access, right? So you need to make sure, whether it's your IT department, your system admin, whoever it is, if you are paying for Microsoft 365 Copilot, make sure that you give the correct access to the correct set of people, because a lot of times companies are paying for it and they just haven't enabled it across their entire Microsoft 365 suite of products, right? And kind of the big advantage there is, well, number one, it's enterprise security, right? So it can work within all, right? Your SharePoint, your OneDrive, Word, Excel, Teams, right? Essentially everywhere you go, your dynamic files can quote unquote follow you, and you can work with them within Microsoft 365 Copilot. All right. Again, that is that $30 a month, but you have to make sure that whoever is, managing license and security, you have to make sure it is enabled at every level. Otherwise, you're paying a bunch of money and, a good majority of your employees might not be able to use anything. All right. And then we have this new tier, which is, I think, both equally exciting, but also a little confusing. Maybe it's the naming, but now we have Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat. Okay. So follow me. So you have the free standard Copilot. You have Copilot Pro, $20 a month. You have Microsoft 365 Copilot, $30 a month. And now we have Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, which is technically a free version of Microsoft 365 Copilot, but then it also offers kind of both pay-as-you-go pricing and kind of you can buy bulk messaging. All right. So, one thing we're not going to get too much into today, right, which I think is a great feature of Microsoft Copilot, is the Copilot Studio. So being able to no code or low code with natural language to be able to build essentially autonomous agents that can act on your behalf, connected to all of your live Microsoft data. That's huge, right? But what Microsoft, they responded to feedback, right? And this was announced a little bit after the Ignite conference. I think the feedback that thousands of enterprise companies were saying to Microsoft, and Microsoft, I think, received it well, is they're saying, hey, we might not want to roll out, this $30 per month license to thousands of employees, but maybe we want them to use certain parts of it without having to pay $30 per month per user. Right. So now inside Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, this is new. All right. Companies can enable the essentially pay as you go pricing or bulk pricing. So then even free users, so if you are part of the Microsoft 365 organization, so you have to be part of that organization, right? But those that they're not paying the $30 a month per user can start using these extremely powerful and robust, essentially, agents, right? You can go into, Copilot Studio. You can build autonomous agents and then essentially have pay-as-you-go pricing. So, maybe, certain employees are only going to use it, a couple prompts a day. Or maybe it's going to be automated and it gets triggered, automatically, and maybe someone needs it, but that might be all they're really using Microsoft 365 Copilot for. So again, now you have this new tier, which is both a free and limited version of the full Microsoft 365 suite that's available to Microsoft 365 commercial customers, and it offers, like I said, pay-as-you-go pricing. Confused yet? Maybe a little bit. For our live stream audience, there's this giant chart that explains it all a little better. I'll make sure to put this in the newsletter. But essentially what this does is this breaks down this new free version of Microsoft 365 Copilot chat versus the paid version, which is Microsoft 365 Copilot, right? Confusing. So when you throw the word chat at the end, right, that is a free/consumption-based model. But if you're just talking about Microsoft 365 Copilot, that is the paid $30 a month model. So there's obviously some differences. And the biggest thing is, there's a lot of things, right? Maybe I should do a dedicated episode on the difference between Microsoft 365 Copilot chat and Microsoft 365 Copilot. But the biggest thing, it comes down to the money, right? So if you're an organization out there and you've, maybe just a small amount of your team has been using Microsoft 365 Copilot, or maybe you haven't been using it at all, but you're a Microsoft 365 organization, you should probably just look at Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. Because then you can still give, right? Maybe you could give 10% of your company access to Microsoft 365 Copilot, and then give the other 90%, right? Whether that's hundreds or thousands of employees, you can just give them the kind of pay-as-you-go pricing model. So it's not, might not cost you multiple seven figures. All right. So first, before we do a live look, which could go terribly, let me first do a quick recap of what's new and what's free inside Microsoft 365, inside Microsoft Copilot. So like I said, first, and this is what we're going to try to demo, is there's free unlimited Think Deeper, all right, which is the O1 model from OpenAI, which you do not get on the free plan of ChatGPT. So that's pretty big. Then you have free and unlimited Copilot voice mode. In GitHub Copilot, you have 2,000 free code completions per month. And then you have the Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, which is free, technically free to use, but it offers more consumption-based pricing. So if you don't want to roll it out to your entire organization. All right, so let's try this live, right? Nothing. What could go wrong? A lot of things. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, live stream audience. Let me know if you can see my screen. That would be super helpful. All right. So right now I am at copilot.microsoft.com. All right. And I am using or let me just kind of describe the interface here to our podcast audience. So yeah, if you want to kind of see this little demo of the new and free O1 model, and we'll try the voice, although I'm guessing it's probably not going to work. You might want to just check out the video version, so you can always check your show notes, come back and watch the video version. All right, so right now, like I said, I'm at copilot.microsoft.com. You do have to have a Microsoft account. So you can have a free account, and then you can access these things that I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so the interface, you might not be used to it, right? You might not be used to it. So you can always click the little Copilot banner down there, and that's going to take you to this kind of homepage. So if this looks very much like Inflection AI, that's because Microsoft kind of acqui-hired Inflection. So, maybe you're not used to this interface. That's why it looks like this. All right. And again, it's probably going to look different if you are on your enterprise account and you go to copilot.microsoft.com. It might not look like this. All right. But if you do have this interface, on a personal account, I feel a lot of people are going to be using this personally, because even for teams that maybe don't have access, right, you might just sign up with a free account and go in and use it yourself. All right. So like I said, if you have that option at the top to toggle between, business and personal, you're not going to have the same layout, but it should work in a similar way. All right. So I can go ahead and click the plus button, and that's to open a new chat. So this is at the bottom, the text input, or upload. So I can upload a file. The kind of history button, I can go back and look at my previous chats. Then you'll see these two new icons. Well, maybe they're new if you haven't used Copilot in a while, that have this little think deeper icon. So when I go and extend this chat mode, you'll be able to see it a little better. Right now, it just kind of looks like this little black and white flower looking thing. It's a circle. All right, that's the think deeper. And that is how you activate the O1 model. So like I said, unlike something like ChatGPT, where you select an actual model from a dropdown, that's not the case here inside. If you're at copilot.microsoft.com, and then there's a microphone icon as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to click into the chat, and hopefully I'll show you the difference. All right. So first, I'm just going to do a simple prompt. All right. I'm going to say, give me 5 pieces of advice to increase my company's YouTube views. All right. This may not be helpful for you. Maybe you care about this. Maybe you don't. All right. So I'm going to first do a normal prompt. So this should be using the GPT-4o model. I'm going to click the enter button. And then it's going to give me some basic responses here. All right. So it says, number 1, optimize titles and descriptions. Number 2, create eye-catching thumbnails. 3, engage your audience. 4, consistency is key. 5, collaborate with influencers or other channels. It's like, okay, nothing great there. Not super actionable, but it's fine. All right. So now let me show you the difference. I'm going to run that same exact prompt. All right. But I'm going to toggle on the think deeper. Okay. So now I have the think deeper icon activated, and I actually hate, small thing, I hate the UI UX on this, because I click the button, and before, the think deeper words did not appear. When I click it, it does appear. So then in my brain, sometimes I'm like, wait, I need to click this, but it's actually already activated. So I don't know why. I wish it just said think deeper the whole time, and it was maybe a white button, and then when you click it, it goes black. It's extremely confusing. So you can see if I'm like toggling it on and off. And when it's toggled on, like, at least, I don't know, change something so I know that's what the think deeper, like, oh, I'm using think deeper. But all right. Anyways, let me just go ahead and click enter here, and you'll see this little animation here. So that kind of flower circle looking thing, it's working. So that means right now it's using the O1 model and it's thinking. So it's taking the exact same prompt that I gave it before, where it just spit out, an answer within like a half second. Before, when I was using the base GPT-4, I wasn't using the think deeper. It spit out that response in less than a second. So now it's just about finished. So it took probably about 10 to 15 seconds to think. All right. So that's when it's going through this O1 model. And hopefully, what it's doing, right, when you're using ChatGPT in the ChatGPT interface, you can kind of see the summarized chain of thought. All right. So you cannot see that when you're using Microsoft Copilot, but essentially, what it does is it's thinking under the hood, right? So this is great that you have this available for free in Microsoft Copilot. So now I see similar, not great, right? It's not fantastic if I'm being honest, but it's better than the response that I got first. All right. And actually, let me just double check here. All right. So I probably shouldn't have done this because it's using the context window of what I said before. So I should have just done a new chat. Let me do that again because it's essentially just repeating what I did previously because it probably thinks that I want it to, and it thinks that I want it to expand on the context that I already used. So now I'm starting a new chat. So it's not just going to give me the exact same content back. All right. So we'll give it a second here. If you do have questions, I'm trying to scroll through as Microsoft Copilot is thinking deeper. Sandra's asking, where's unlimited O3? So yeah, that's a great question, Sandra, because right now, even if you are a free ChatGPT user, you do have also free access to a reasoning model, but that is O3 Mini that you have access to, which it's in some ways better than O1. In some ways, it's not. The good thing about ChatGPT's free O3 Mini is it can also connect to the web. So that's a downside of Microsoft Copilot's O1 and Think Deeper connection is it does not work with the web. All right. So let's look at the results here. Much better. All right. And it is different. So here it says, here's 5 detailed pieces of advice to boost your company's YouTube views. All right. So number 1, it says optimize your video SEO. And then for each of these points, I like this. There's sub points. It says what to do, why it matters, and example in action. That's great, right? So even though I didn't ask it for this breakdown, it did break it down at a much more granular and actionable level, which I mean, right there, you can probably hopefully see and understand the value of using these reasoning models and using this new free and unlimited Think Deeper feature that's powered by O1. So first, it says optimize your video SEO, right? So I'll just read this first one. I'm not going to read it all for our podcast audience, right? So it says what to do: craft compelling, keyword-rich titles, descriptions, and tags. Create eye-catching custom thumbnails and include relevant hashtags. Use closed captions and annotations when applicable. Why it matters: YouTube is the world's 2nd largest search engine. By aligning your metadata and with what your audience is searching for, your videos become more discoverable. A well-optimized video consistently appears in the recommended feeds and search results. And then last, examples in action. So it says if your company specializes in tech innovations, incorporate trending phrases or questions. Example, how AI is transforming business into your titles and descriptions. This not only informs the viewer about the content, but also leverages popular search queries. All right, so it did that for all 5 of the steps. So number 1 was optimize your video SEO. Number 2 is create consistent, high quality content. Number 3, engage and build a community. Number 4, leverage cross promotion and collaborations. Number 5, use data-driven strategies. All right, so couple things to keep in mind about using O1 and Think Deeper here. Don't use it like this. If you're using, don't just put in a simple prompt like that. Give it context, go back and forth, have a conversation, and also take advantage of the context window, right? Unfortunately, well, let's talk about some of the downsides. Think Deeper does not do a good job. I don't know if this is, again, a UI UX issue. And let me just do a quick demo of this. All right, so I'm going to go click new chat now. All right, I'm going to run essentially that same prompt. So I'm using the standard version, so the non-Think Deeper. All right, and I'm uploading a file. All right, and I'll explain what this is. So I essentially now have some of my YouTube data, right? And I've done this on the channel before. So in the normal version of Copilot, I uploaded a spreadsheet, a CSV of some of my YouTube data. And then I said similar, but I added one more thing as the last prompt. I said, give me 5 pieces of advice to increase my YouTube views. Please give me insights based on this data only. All right. So then the regular version, I go through and it's pulling out actual information from my YouTube stats. Although I think this is probably an older export that I did, but it's going through. Here's a good example, right? So number 2, it says increase video length and depth, data insights, videos with longer average view durations, like 7 ways to use AI in your business in 2024. And will AI take our jobs? Our answer might surprise you. Tend to have higher engagement, right? So essentially it said, if a video is longer, there's higher engagement. So it actually went through the normal version and free version of Microsoft Copilot, went through and it actually analyzed that CSV, and it did a pretty good job. All right, so now if I try to run that exact same prompt with the Think Deeper, I don't think Think Deeper works with files, right? Because when I upload something, I wish Microsoft would just tell us, make it a little easier to know, because when I do it, it will still respond. So now I did that exact same prompt, uploaded that spreadsheet in a new document with the Think Deeper kind of icon enabled. So now I think that it's going to be 2 things. I think it's going to be going through, even though it's not, right? But the user believes it's going to go through and it's going to use its reasoning model, and it's going to go through and dive into the spreadsheet, but it's not, right? So now when it's giving me these, 5 pieces of advice based on my spreadsheet, it's actually not. It's just bringing in, again, now some random information, because this is not correct. This is not from my document. All right. But if I run a similar prompt and I just copy and paste some of the information, again, the context window is not super long, but you'll see the difference here. So it didn't hallucinate, right? It didn't make things up. It just gave me general responses, right? I wish that this new Think Deeper mode, if you click it, it should probably disable attachments, because it doesn't appear to work or be able to read most types of attachments. All right, so now if I launch a new chat, I'm going to do the same thing. Oops, I forgot to click the button there. Now I have to wait. Love live demos. Let's try it again. All right, there we go. So now, as an example, I ran that similar prompt, but I just copy and pasted some of that info from the CSV, because, if you use it correctly, right, it's actually really good. So now the results that I'm going to get by just copying and pasting some of that data from the CSV and using the Think Deeper is going to be much better than if I just used Microsoft Copilot without putting any of that information in there. So now you'll see it's pulling actual information that I pasted in. So this is great. And this is much better than not using the O1 model. So a couple downsides right now. It doesn't appear that if you're using Think Deeper, even in the free mode, that it works very well with any attachments. And the other thing is it doesn't connect to the internet. So this is only working best case October 2023, which is why some of those original, as an example, some of the original, 5 strategies for SEO optimization for YouTube, those were a little off, right? It was kind of pushing metadata and those things, which are not as important anymore, right? Like kind of keyword stuffing a YouTube video if you want to increase your company's YouTube views. So not really something that works super well. All right, now let's just do one more demo and then we're going to wrap this show up. All right, so now I'm going to try to do the voice mode. Live stream audience, let me know if you can hear this. So here's what I would do. Take advantage of the context window. Okay. So what you can do is put a bunch of your data in there first. All right. You can't stack either. You can't use the Think Deeper and the voice mode at the same time. It doesn't do anything. It's just one voice mode. But now I'm going to continue working, right? So like I said, I use Think Deeper. So I kind of got the good stuff out of that O1 model. I got some of the good insights that, only a reasoning model would be able to give me. It also has, hopefully, and can retain some of the context of what I pasted in. So now I'm going to launch, and like I said, hopefully you guys can hear this. I'm going to launch the voice mode so you can at least hear, and we'll see if it actually works. I'm guessing it might not. Hey, based on all of this data, can you maybe give me a three-step action plan on how I can go about finding new YouTube video ideas based on all of the data that I gave you? Please be just pretty succinct and just stick to the facts, but be creative.
Absolutely, Jordan. Here's a three-step action plan. Deep dive into analytics. Review your highest performing videos by metrics like watch time, average view duration, and click-through rate.
Hey, can
If
you actually? So, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but could you actually look at the context window and look at all of the information that I already shared with you, and then use that information to compile your response? So, look at everything that I shared with you, and then please give me those three strategies or ideas and make them very specific based on the data that I gave you already.
Absolutely, Jordan. Let's tailor it then. One, analyze high-performing content. Identify videos with high engagement, like ones with high average percentage viewed and likes versus dislikes, and note their topics or formats.
All right, let's take this in a different direction. Based on all of the data that I gave you, can you please tell me the three videos with the highest views? And then maybe tell me why, or if you can spot any trends in those three videos. So please only use the data that I gave you and make sure you tell me the three videos with the most views.
Without the precise data, I'll create a fictional scenario.
All right, we're good. Thanks. All right, so I tried it. What's weird is I tried that same thing earlier today. It worked fine, right? So sometimes I think voice mode, and maybe it is because I toggled deep the deep thinking on and off. I might actually just try that one more time here, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's launch a new chat here. All right. Sorry, I want to give this. I want to give this a fair, kind of a fair squeeze. All right. So now I'm just copying and pasting a lot of that information that I put in before. I'm not toggling the O1 model or the, think deeper. And then, so I'm just getting it first. I'm getting a normal response. So I'm setting up some of that context window. And then I'm going to give this a try again with Copilot voice mode, because I'm guessing, or I'm thinking that because I enabled the O1 model, that the voice mode was not able to go back and look at the context. So we'll see if that's the truth. Let's try it again.
Hey, Jordan, how's it going?
Good. Can you please go through and look at the data that I sent you? Tell me the three videos that had the highest number of views, and see if you can spot any common trends in those videos.
I don't have access to your YouTube data directly, but if you have specific data points
So I just shared some info in the context window. So if you look back at our chat, you'll be able to see it. So please just tell me the three videos with the most views and see if you can spot any trends among those.
I'm sorry, Jordan, but I can't access past chats or data directly. If
So like I said, voice mode got a failure there, even though I did the same thing earlier and it worked fine. Yeah, sorry about that, y'all. I know people said like turn the volume up. So sometimes it shares the volume of the actual window. Sometimes it doesn't. So I'm sorry if you couldn't hear that, but just to quickly recap, the voice mode struggled, right? So I'll save you any time trying to go back and re-listen to the last 5 minutes. Voice mode struggled, right? And it does. So if you are doing voice mode that requires working with data, working with uploads, really understanding the context of a chat, not great. If you just need an AI voice to talk to, right? If you're looking to bounce ideas off of an AI voice mode, it's pretty good. It's pretty neural. It does a good job. But yeah, working with data, swapping between modes, not always the best for the Copilot voice mode. All right, y'all. That is it. I hope this was helpful. So like I said, a ton of new and free features just released in Microsoft Copilot, many of them unlimited, that I think a lot of people didn't pay much attention to. Maybe people are sleeping on. Like I said, they're not perfect, right? The voice mode kind of failed there. And I'm sorry y'all couldn't hear it. But using the O1 model is great inside of Copilot. It is free. Like I said, the GitHub Copilot, even though it's not unlimited, that's great to get people started. And then as well, I definitely can't forget about the Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. That might be, I think, one of the biggest advancements that Microsoft has made, because I think the majority of enterprise organizations were not rolling out that $30 a month Microsoft 365 Copilot access to their hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of employees. But now with Microsoft 365 Copilot chat, which is free to use with limited features, it does offer a pay-as-you-go model. So you can have one person build a bunch of autonomous agents for your organization that's grounded and secure and works with your dynamic company data. And then you can just get charged. And it's not a lot, just based on usage, right? So yeah, maybe it's not going to, cause a multiple seven-figure investment for your company. So a lot of new and exciting advancements that I think, because of all the, everything that's been going on with Google, Gemini, and Microsoft, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, right? All these Chinese models, like everyone's been sleeping and everyone missed on Microsoft Copilot. And I think that's the thing that most organizations are going to be able to take advantage of right now. All right. I hope this is helpful. If so, please subscribe to the podcast. Check out your show notes. There's always ways you can get in touch. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you just want to drop me an email, something like that. Would appreciate it if you could subscribe to the show, leave us a rating. If this was helpful, if you're still listening on the live stream, please share this, repost this with your network. I'd super appreciate it. Also, I'd super appreciate you going to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. We'll be recapping today's episode with way less chit chat. So thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you tomorrow and every day for more everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.